South African runner Caster Semenya continues with a partial victory in the courts for the 2012 and 2016 800 metres Olympic champion today in Lucerne. The ruling from the European Court of Human Rights has no bearing on whether Semenya can compete, though. Let's get more of an understanding of what exactly has happened with our sports news correspondent Geraint Hughes. Geraint, can you explain to us what has happened in court and why it's a partial victory for Semenya?
Yeah, I'll explain that part first. She's had a hearing in the European Court of Human Rights this morning in which she's had a partial victory. And what they have found in her favour is that previous hearings, which were held within Swiss jurisdiction, so in the Swiss Federal Supreme Court, is that her rights to a fair hearing were violated. She has won that part of it, and as a result, she's been granted around €80,000 in costs, basically, to cover her costs for this long-running legal battle that has been going on for her for 7 years. That's where she's partial victories come on. Other parts of the hearing today at the European Court of Human Rights, she has not won. The parts that they were looking at, they have upheld. I think what is really key here to explain is that people are thinking, well, does this mean that Caster Semenya can run again? No. And there was no chance in this hearing today that that was ever going to be discussed. This is a very complex, long-running legal battle. So, for example, she is banned from running in athletics by the world governing body, World Athletics. They brought in rules on DSD, differences in sexual development. That is what Caster Semenya has. So they have raised testosterone levels that help build muscle mass and muscle strength. So the rules, which came into effect in 2019 from athletics governing body, were that anyone that wanted to compete between 400 metres and 1 mile with raised testosterone levels, if they wanted to compete, they would effectively have to take medication to lower those testosterone rules. Now, Semenya has not been in court today about that. She has been in the past, but that has been upheld by the Court of Arbitration for Sport. So that ban still remains in place. That was not even being discussed today. It's this complex legal environment that Caster Semenya has been going through the courts for 7 years. So what does happen now is that she is granted the right to take her various hearings back into the Swiss courts. They have to go back into the Swiss courts and they'll go through it again. Again, this will not involve world athletics and eligibility rules around athletes with DSD. Not just yet. We are a long way from even being at that stage. So it's one of those court cases which Semenya, yes, she sees this as good news for her and a partial victory, yes. But in terms of it changing the landscape in athletics tomorrow, next week or next year, no, nothing changes. And as World Athletics have brought these rules in 2019, they were upheld and updated again in 2023. Many other sports beyond athletics are keeping an eye on what happens here as well. But for the time being, nothing changes. Caster Semenya, she's 34 now and probably will never run it again. But for her and anyone in a similar position to her, they are still banned from competing in athletics between 400 metres and 1 mile if they have raised testosterone levels. So that is, nothing changes on that front. Where Semenya has had a win today, this partial win, is basically in a long-running, complex legal battle with the courts where she's recouped some costs and she also gets the chance to go back into the Swiss system to argue her case.